It starts with light, not sound, light, brighter than anything the human eye was built to process, faster than your nerves can warn your brain to blink. By the time you'd hear anything, it's already over for some. For others, hundreds of miles of decisions are just beginning. This is the story of what a nuclear explosion does to the human body, second by second, mile by mile, and the real science of how people have actually walked away from it. Let's place a hypothetical detonation over a city, the kind of yield often discussed in nuclear policy studies. At the very center, within roughly half a mile, temperatures spike to tens of millions of degrees for a fraction of a second, hotter than the surface of the sun. At this distance, biology doesn't really apply anymore. The fireball doesn't injure the body. It converts it. There's no pain, because pain requires a working nervous system, and there isn't time for signals to travel. It sounds bleak, and it is, but here's the important part. This zone is small. For most yields, we're talking about a radius of less than a mile. The story of survival doesn't begin here. It begins just outside it. Move out to 1 to 3 miles and the story changes completely. Because now it's not heat that defines survival. It's pressure and wind. A nuclear blast wave moves outward faster than sound, hitting structures with overpressure that can flatten reinforced concrete. The human body itself can actually tolerate a surprising amount of raw overpressure. Our organs are mostly water, which doesn't compress easily. What kills in this zone is usually indirect: collapsing buildings, flying glass, and being thrown by 300 plus miles per hour winds. Doctors who study blast trauma call these tertiary injuries. Injuries not from the bomb itself, but from becoming a projectile or being hit by one. This is also where thermal radiation causes flash burns on any exposed skin facing the blast. Instant burns from radiant heat, even before the shockwave arrives, because light outruns pressure. If you see the flash in this zone, you have roughly 10 to 20 seconds before the blast wave hits. That gap is your entire window. FEMA and the CDC's actual nuclear guidance is simple. Get down, get behind something solid, and cover your head and neck. A concrete wall, a ditch, a sturdy desk, anything between you and flying debris. Those seconds decide everything. Push out to 3 to 5 miles, and windows still shatter, but buildings largely stand. Here, the danger to the human body is thermal radiation, the same radiant heat from the fireball, just weaker with distance. Skin exposed directly to the fireball can suffer second and third degree burns purely from that flash of heat, even through clothing in some cases. But here's something most people don't expect. Anything opaque between you and the fireball blocks it. A wall, a car door, even turning away and dropping down can prevent a burn entirely, because thermal radiation travels in a straight line, just like light. This is the zone where a huge percentage of nuclear casualties historically came from fire. Not the blast itself, but structure fires that started afterward and spread through debris. In this range, the single most important action is the same: drop, cover, hold on, away from windows. After the shockwave passes, getting away from fires and broken gas lines matters as much as the blast itself did. Beyond 5 miles, the blast and heat fade fast, but a new danger takes over. One you can't see, hear, or feel. Fallout. Radioactive dust and debris pulled up into the mushroom cloud, drifting downwind and settling over the following hours. This is where the body's damage becomes cellular instead of physical. Radiation exposure damages DNA replication. It hits fast-dividing cells first: bone marrow, the digestive lining, hair follicles. That's why radiation sickness shows up as nausea, fatigue, and hair loss in the days that follow, rather than instant trauma. The critical fact here: fallout intensity drops dramatically with time. Radiation from fallout decreases roughly by a factor of 10 for every 7-fold increase in time. In plain terms, The first hour is the most dangerous, and the danger keeps dropping fast after that. This is where the real rule of nuclear survival comes in, used by FEMA, Ready.gov, and civil defense agencies worldwide. Get inside, stay tuned. The best shelter is the center of a large building, or a basement, as much mass and distance between you and the outside as possible. Experts recommend staying sheltered for a minimum of 24 hours, since that's when fallout radiation drops most sharply, then following official guidance before moving. Here's what's remarkable when you step back and look at the actual data from nuclear detonation studies. Distance and shelter matter more than almost anything else. Two people standing the same distance from a blast can have wildly different outcomes based on one decision. Was there a wall between them? Three rules show up again and again in nuclear preparedness science. Time. The first hour of fallout is the most dangerous. Every hour after, it weakens. Distance. Every mile between you and the blast dramatically changes your odds. Shielding, where mass between you and the blast, whether it's concrete, earth, or even a car, absorbs both heat and radiation. It's not dramatic. It's not cinematic. It's genuinely just get down, get inside, get away from the outside walls, and wait for real information from official sources. The human body is fragile against something like this, but it's also more resilient than most people assume when it has distance, shelter, and time on its side. Understanding this isn't about fear. It's about the same reason we study earthquakes, or hurricanes, or any force greater than us. Because knowledge, even about worst-case scenarios, is what turns panic into action. If you found this breakdown interesting, subscribe for more deep dives into the science of survival. And let me know in the comments what disaster scenario you want broken down next.